Welcome to Cheating Stories, Real Betrayal. Raw emotions, no filters. If you've ever been lied to, this is your place. Subscribe for weekly stories that cut deep and hit harder. Story: She cheated while I was deployed overseas. I always knew deployments were tough. I'd heard the stories, the strain of distance, the loneliness, the missed birthdays and holidays. But I believed we were different. My name is Jake. I'm a 29-year-old infantryman in the US Army. I'd been married to Melissa for 3 years when I got my orders to deploy to the Middle East. It wasn't my first tour, but it was going to be the longest. 9 months. We talked about it a lot before I left. She cried, of course, said she'd miss me, said she'd be waiting at the airport when I came home. I believed her. I kissed her on the forehead, told her I loved her, and promised I'd come back safe. I gave her power of attorney. Left her the car, the apartment, the joint account. I didn't think twice. She was my wife. We Skyped often in the first month. She'd show me the dog, the new curtains she bought, what she made for dinner. But then, little by little, the calls got shorter. She said work was crazy, or she was too tired to talk. I brushed it off. Everyone gets busy. Still, something felt off. I ignored the feeling. I had more important things to focus on. My team, our missions, making it home in one piece. But as the months passed, that uneasy feeling didn't go away. And then one night, it got worse. It was a Thursday night, hot and dusty, and we'd just gotten back from a 3-day patrol. I was in the comms tent, half asleep, in front of my laptop, when I got a message from Ryan, a buddy back home who used to date Melissa's best friend. We hadn't talked in months. The message was short. "Hey man, I don't know how to say this, but have you heard anything about Melissa lately?" My stomach sank. I typed back, "What do you mean?" He hesitated. I could see the 3 little dots flashing, stopping, flashing again. Finally, "People are talking. She's been seen with some guy, a lot." I froze. I asked who. He gave me a name. Tom. Some guy from her work, apparently. They'd been seen at bars together. Her car had been at his place more than once, late at night. I stared at the screen. My hands were trembling. I asked Ryan if he was sure. He said he wouldn't have told me if he wasn't. I logged off and sat there in silence for a long time, the heat of the desert replaced by a cold rage I couldn't shake. I tried to tell myself it was just gossip. Maybe someone had seen her with a friend. Maybe Ryan had the wrong guy, but my instincts were screaming. I started looking back at her messages. They'd gotten shorter, less affectionate, and lately she didn't even say "I love you" at the end. Still, I said nothing. I kept my head down, did my job, and told myself I'd know the truth soon enough, because I had a surprise plan. I was getting 2 weeks of mid-tour leave, and I wasn't going to tell her. I didn't tell Melissa I was coming home. My CO signed off on the leave, and 3 days later, I was on a military flight headed back to the States. I had a duffel bag, a racing heart, and 1,000 questions I didn't want answered. I landed late on a Friday night and grabbed a cab from the base. My heart was pounding the entire ride. It was almost midnight when we pulled up to our apartment. The lights were on. That was the first red flag. Melissa never stayed up late alone. I paid the driver, walked up the stairs, and stood in front of the door for a long minute. My hand hovered over the knob. Then I turned it slowly. It was unlocked. Inside, the living room was a mess. A half-empty bottle of wine, 2 glasses, a man's jacket on the arm of the couch. I could hear music playing faintly from the bedroom, at our bedroom. I didn't want to move, but I had to know. I walked toward the hallway, heart pounding louder than my boots ever had. And then I saw them. Through the crack in the bedroom door, I saw Melissa, my wife, in bed with another man. His face was buried in her neck. Her hands were on his back. They didn't hear me. I pushed the door open. Melissa gasped. The guy scrambled off the bed. I didn't yell. I didn't throw anything. I just stared at her. She pulled the blanket over herself, eyes wide in shock. "Jake, what are you doing here?" "I live here," I said. My voice didn't even sound like mine. The guy grabbed his pants and mumbled something about leaving. I let him go. I didn't care who he was anymore. When the door slammed behind him, I looked at her. "Why?" I asked. She started crying. "I didn't think you'd find out. I was lonely, Jake. You were gone for so long." I was deployed, I said, nearly choking. I was fighting a war. She didn't have a response, and just like that, whatever love I still had for her, it vanished. I walked out of the bedroom, out of the apartment, and into the night. She didn't follow me. It's been almost a year since that night. Melissa and I are divorced now. There wasn't much to fight over. I gave her the furniture. I kept the dog. The day the papers were finalized, I sat in my car for an hour, just staring out the windshield. I wasn't sad. Not really, just hollow, like something had been ripped out of me and replaced with nothing. But over time, the numbness faded. I went back to base, focused on my career, got promoted, found a new apartment, started lifting again, breathing again. I'm not telling this story for sympathy. I'm telling it for every soldier, sailor, airman, and marine out there who's away from home, trusting someone with their heart while they carry a rifle. Because the truth is, some people won't wait. It's not your fault. It's not because you weren't good enough, strong enough, man enough. It's because they weren't worthy of what you gave them. I let Melissa in too deep, gave her everything without a second thought. Because I thought love was enough, that the ring meant something. I was wrong, but I'm not bitter, not anymore. I've seen brothers fall in combat. I've carried caskets draped in flags. And after that, what Melissa did, it feels small by comparison. Painful, yes, but survivable. If you're reading this and you've been through it, or you're afraid it might happen to you, know this. You are not alone. You will heal. And one day, you'll find someone who understands the weight of your absence and who chooses to stay anyway. Until then, stand tall. We keep marching, we keep fighting, and we don't ever let betrayal define us.